welcome, first of all, and thank you for joining us in this first remote induction event. My name is Nikki Adams. I'm the Director of Higher Education here at Nescott, and the order of the day will be me giving an overview of higher education and talking in a very general whole college sense about what we do at Nescott and your experience as students and what we need from you, particularly in terms of feedback. That will be followed by a presentation from Rob Greening, which will centre around safeguarding and well-being and COVID-related precautions and matters. Then there'll be a short break, which I suggest that everybody stays online in this single link. And then there will be a presentation from the Learning Resources team about what's happening with the Learning Resource Centre, how to access that, the information skills and research sessions that will be delivered alongside the early part of your course to support you in your academic writing, and the resources that they're able to supply. So, without further ado, I'm just going to start. So, as I said, welcome. I just wanted to really set out our stall at the very start. So our intention, irrespective of the level that our students come to us, so we offer programs from foundation level, so that's before level 1, right up to level 7, which is master's level. And for all of those students, our intention is effectively to provide systems of the future. So we're looking to provide our students with the skills that will make them employable, but also innovative and creative. And that's particularly so with respect to our graduates and postgraduates. Our principal is Frances Rutter, who's been here for some years, steering the Nescott ship. And she is supported in the higher education perspective by the quality team, which involves Julia Snellock, who's the Senior Quality Administrator, and those of you who are going to be involved in the student engagement mechanisms, student councils, student representation, will have quite a lot of contact with Julia. And also she will be encouraging everybody to download and register for NESCOMs as a communication means, in addition to using your Nescott email. So all communications from Nescott, from the programme teams and your lecturers, will come to your Nescott student email. So please be aware of that. Caroline Parmenter is our academic registrar and clerk, and what that entails is supporting you in your programmes and supporting your lecturers to make sure that they are discussing matters such as mitigating circumstances with you. She's in control of the academic standards and assists with exam boards and assessment boards and assessment design. And then down in the bottom corner, there's me. I'm the Director of Higher Education, and that encompasses not only the programmes that we offer that you're all involved with at the Surrey site, but we offer programmes based in Europe and also in other parts of the UK in terms of higher education. So quite a wide stretch of programmes. So you'll be seeing me as part of some of the student mechanisms that we're going to talk about. We are, if you like, overseen in terms of quality control by what's called the Quality Assurance Agency, the QAA, which is effectively the equivalent to Ofsted in terms of maintaining quality assurance, but for higher education, whereas Ofsted's focus is, of course, for further education. In addition to that, we have the awarding bodies who have oversight of everything that we do, and that may be the validating universities, such as the Open Universities. So we have programmes that are validated by the Open University, who has the degree awarding powers that we deliver. So that's computing and the BA top-up in counselling. And we also have other universities involved, such as Kingston and the University of Greenwich and the University of West London. And in addition, we have Pearson. Pearson is the awarding body for the higher national qualifications. So once we've finished the first session, you will see there are 3 links to the different programme awarding body presentations for the 12:30 slot. And I'll remind you at the end of this which programmes fall into which category. So the external examiners are another means of controlling and keeping an oversight of the quality of what we do in terms of teaching, learning and assessment, making sure that we are assessing you fairly, thoroughly and to the right standards so that you can be assured that any qualification you come out of NESCOT holding is of the requisite standard, and so it is recognised as such. So that may be level 6 as a graduate, level 7 as a postgraduate. And then also we have youth students. You are crucial to our quality control mechanisms, and I'll just talk through how that works in the next few slides. But one of the key mechanisms is talking to you when we visit lessons and have discussions with you in a less formal mechanism, simply by virtue of the fact that we need to know your opinions. There are also comments and compliments boxes around the campus, and the quality team take thoughts from students as well as informal discussions with the programme team. The final quality control mechanism is all about self-assessment. So this is where the programme teams and the quality team sit down and really scrutinise what they've done, what the comments have been from external examiners, students and the awarding bodies, and what measures they need to put in place to change things for the better, whether that's an improvement and something new within a programme or an additional activity, or making slight changes to the assessment practice. So some of the comments that we've had from external examiners I thought might be quite useful to show you. So really just emphasising that the feedback takes the form of both written but also verbal feedback, not only in practical subjects where you are honing those practical skills, but also in terms of the academic skills. And you'll find this particularly in those early sessions within the library, doing the academic writing and information skills sessions. So all of that formative feedback allows you to develop and tweak ready for a final submission and accurately pinpoint what you need to do next time. I think it's also worthwhile emphasising that the design of the programmes, because we have to write the programmes and then they are validated or signed off, is very much in line with the employment at the end, and industry experience is a crucial part, as you might expect, certainly with the education and training suite, but also all of the other programmes such as creative media and performing arts. There's a large emphasis on employability and engagement of industry experts. So I mentioned that there were several ways that we would take your voice, and those include first and foremost the Staff Student Consultative Committee, and that's where you meet with the team that teaches you and have those discussions about things that you think might be useful to change on the course, but also things that are positive, because we need to know what is going well in order to maintain that. We also operate what are called boards of study, and these are where we have a review of the programme, the content, the quality metrics, and that also includes minutes from the Staff Student Consultative Committee, and the student sits on that boards of study if they are able to. If they are not able to attend physically, they can either attend remotely or email in their comments. We then have course representatives. So the course representative elections will start within your programmes fairly early on in the course, and then those reps will be the mouthpiece for that particular course. So they will work to collect the views of everybody on the course. It isn't just their own personal opinions, and I think that's really crucial to emphasise, that they are your spokesperson. So they will come to the student council meetings, which we operate termly, and those comments will also feed through into the Board of Studies and also into the other management frameworks that we have, where we look at HE feedback. In addition to the student representatives at a course level, there are also opportunities for student representatives to become a governor and sit on the governing body in the curriculum and quality meetings, and also on the HE board, which is one of the main mechanisms that we have for oversight of the higher education right across the college. Now, I've come on to surveys, and I think it's fair to say that these are another means of gathering feedback, but we are crucially aware that there are a lot of times that students are required to give feedback in survey form. Not all of these surveys are as a result of the college, and so last year we took out one of the college-based surveys for that reason, to prevent overload. So there is the external National Student Survey, and that takes place in the final year of programme. So at the moment, those of you who are completing programmes of more than 1 year wouldn't necessarily be involved in this, but that asks questions about your experience here, the teaching and learning, the sense of community, feedback, and student support. So there will be a campaign to raise awareness about that starting fairly shortly. We've just had our results back for this year, and we've had an over 10 percentage point increase in participation and satisfaction. So we're in the top quartile metric-wise for that. So that's really pleasing. Graduate outcomes is all about what happens after you've completed the course. So again, this is a survey completed by an external body, and this forms part of the metrics that we report on. So students will be sampled 15 months after exiting a programme to find out what their destination was, what they're doing next. And then we also have our internal surveys, and primarily we have the induction survey. Last year we took out the mid-programme survey, and we're still considering whether to take that out again this year because of the overload factor. In terms of induction, I think it's worthwhile emphasising that this today is only the start of the induction process. Induction carries on until at least the half-term point. So up until the October half-term, because there's a whole wealth of activities that you will be undertaking, particularly in those first few weeks, that will be familiarising you with the college in a wider sense, and your programme, the assessments, the methodology, the skills you need, where to seek support, and how to go about developing some of the additional wider skills, be they digital, that are associated with the programme. Okay, so some of the things that students have said previously are quite positive. So we've certainly got comments from intellectually stimulating courses. So I know that all of you are aware you've signed up to do this, and it is going to be a challenge, but hopefully an exciting challenge, because we aim to make the subject interesting. The library and Learning Resources Centre are a crucial key part of your team. Doesn't matter what subject you're doing. Graham and Christina will be talking to you later in their presentation, and they are part of every single subject programme team. They are crucial to your success, and the course teams are fully aware of that and involve them. I think, though, for me, this particular comment summed up really what I would have hoped all of our programs are able to provide. And that is just that stepping stone to a different opportunity, sometimes that people hadn't even envisaged. So opening that door to a new future, really. And that really is what we're all about. And we're here to support you in achieving that. So we have had an increase in positive response to all of our surveys, but basically we need to do better. We always want to do better. And in terms of teaching and learning and assessment, that is a key focus always for us. So we will be visiting lessons. We will be taking your views on that. And I think crucially, the induction survey and the very early visits to your lessons will hopefully help us put measures in place that will support you in year, rather than just being a retrospective change that doesn't impact upon you. So we try to get your views early in order to make a change that affects you. So I just needed to mention what's called the Access and Participation Plan, which is quite a large body of work that we have around widening participation in higher education. We were required as a college to build on something we've done previously, and this requirement is put in place by the Office for Students, who is our regulatory body for higher education. And it's all about looking at each point of the student journey. So before you come onto the programme, in terms of initial advice and guidance, what happens during the programme, and then what happens subsequently to support you into your next steps. It's about making sure that we are really extending the opportunity as widely as possible to everybody who may be qualified, but also it's about us raising awareness and aspirations in areas where possibly people haven't ever considered that higher education might be something that would be open for them. So that's something that's reported on in our meetings, and students are involved in that as well. So there will be focus groups going on this across the year to elicit your views. Okay, so just to emphasise, in terms of the induction, the day is that very general overview, and you will be having in your first week next week, from day one, you'll be having a more course or program specific induction, and you'll be seeing the facilities and a more detailed piece of information in terms of handbooks and the support that the college can offer. So the college handbook supports that, and we use a virtual learning environment called WebLearn, and that is effectively where your programme information, including the handbook, will sit. The programme team will also take you not just on a physical tour of the college, but also on a tour of the website and the pertinent policies. They'll also talk you through course requirements and assessment requirements. So that's really important. You need to know what the goalposts are and how to meet expectations. So the policies are there to also support you in that. They will talk you through academic regulations for your course. On the website, we have a list of all of the required policies that you can reference. That's your definitive list. It includes the academic regulations for your course. It includes the complaints policy. It includes health and safety. It talks about academic misconduct and plagiarism integrated with that. It also talks about student voice mechanisms and the role of the student representative and feeding into the board of studies. So you'll have a little bit more information on the learning resources support in the presentation at 11:15. Then study skills and employability support, financial support. I just wanted to mention that effectively at the moment that support is taking the form of email and phone. and your program teams will be able to supply you with those contact details. So Liz Evans is one of the primary study support tutors, SSTs, who helps with study skills, and of course Christina and Graham and the library team work very closely with you and the program team to do that. We have 2 level 7 qualified careers advisors who sit in the advice and guidance regime, and again they will be contactable by email, and they produce huge amounts of support and contact in addition to our business centre team. Financial support sits with Sharon Greenwood, and again she is contactable by email and by phone, and she'll be able to talk you through things such as potential bursary applications in the same way that the study skills tutor would be able to talk you through disability support applications if that's required. Rob Greening will be talking about health and wellbeing very shortly, and all of the support mechanisms that are in place for that. And then I just wanted to mention something that sits alongside your course, which is really crucial. It's an additional enhancement, so it is designed to add value to any program that you are doing academically. And then this is a series of online modules, and it's titled Learning at College. And we have selected those to supplement what you're doing in a subject-specific manner and make sure that you are fully prepared in terms of stepping out into employment. Because the modules we've chosen around safeguarding, British values, extremism, digital literacy and internet safety are all very much the types of wider questions, often mandatory, that you will be asked about in an interview and job situation. So those are all online modules that sit alongside your course, and the safeguarding and British values and exploitation and extremism are designed to be taken as early as possible within the first term. They're not time consuming, but they are informative, and they, particularly for some of the other subjects that you'll be studying as part of your programme, underpin quite a lot of the wider working practice. So, effectively, I just wanted to say, remember, we're here to support you, we're here to help you achieve and progress, but ultimately, we want you to achieve more than just a qualification in your time with us. So the qualification, absolutely, that's key. But we really want to equip you with those wider skills. So the analytical ability, the interpersonal skills, working with a wide cross-section of people, operating across the college, possibly in roles like the student representative, being informed about the wider issues such as extremism, so that you're fully developed and ready to step into the next stage. Okay. So the next part of our proceedings will be Rob Greening, who will be taking us through the safeguarding procedures and support, and also referencing the COVID matters. So I'm just going to switch presentations and hand over to Rob.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Graham Hodge, and I'm the Head of Learning Resources at Nescott College. I'm going to introduce my colleague on the right.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christina. I am the academic librarian.
So we've taken a jump ahead, and we're going in ahead of Rob Greening's talk. So we're just going to introduce you to the Learning Resources Centre. So this is the team here. As you can see, there's myself on the top left, Head of Learning Resources, and Christina on my right, and there's the rest of the team here. A lot of what Nikki has said to you this morning echoes exactly what we will do for you and offer you. We pride ourselves on our customer care. We have built up over the years a very strong reputation for working closely with course teams and of course students. We value your feedback. We enjoy working with you, and it's been an absolute pleasure to get some of the feedback that we've had about what we've been able to achieve in the Learning Resources Centre over the last 10, 15 years. We're entering a very unusual time. Normally, we'd be seeing you all and having tours around the LRC and getting to actually see you in person. So it's a strange thing for us now to be doing this presentation over the web, over the internet. But we are uniquely in a setup to be able to support you both physically and of course virtually online as well. And this little presentation is just going to take you through what we can offer you both now in these particular circumstances, but hopefully if things get better, what we'll be doing in that area as well. So I'm now going to pass you over to Christina.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay, so I'm going to very briefly tell you about what the library is and what facilities we've got. So at the moment, the LRC is going to be closed in September, but we are still there. We're working on campus, and as Ryan said, we are going to continue supporting and helping you remotely. But some of the services we can still, you will still be allowed to get from us. So the library space, we've got two desks. We've got a welcome desk and a help desk, and there is where the library staff works. We also have an open area for the rest of the staff. So you will find us there whenever we are able to reopen the library. Then there is a big open area where it's full of PCs, laptops, and desks. So that's where mainly the further education students work. So it's quite a live area usually, and well, you are also more than welcome to work in the area. However, we have a specific room for higher education and adult students, and this area is quiet, is very comfortable. You've got computers there. You can just go and log in and work individually or work in groups, always in a quiet atmosphere. In the library, we also have printing facilities. So you have 3 printers, black and white and color. You also can find reprography there if you want to print some more like larger amounts of printing or something more, let's say more professional. So all these services or spaces here, as I said, at the moment and in September are going to be closed. However, we're going to review this at the end of the month, and we will see if we can reopen some or all of the services. We're going to be reviewing this and informing you about any updates. But as I said, we're going to continue working and supporting you, and these are the services that you can already have from next week. So in the library, we have a large book collection that you can find those books on the shelves in the open area. We also have an ebook collection. and I'm going to show you how to access to ebooks and other online resources. So about the books, because the library is open, we are going to develop order and collect service. So you will have to contact us via telephone or email or through the online portal to order or reserve the books that you want, and then we will let you know when you can collect the books. Okay, so it will be by appointment. We basically want to restrict the number of people going to the library. This is only until further notice. Okay. So how can you know which books you want? We've got an online portal, and here we not only have a library catalog, we have developed a full subject area resources page. So in there, you will be able to find your course reading list, and as Nikki, Anna, and Brian said before, we work very closely to your tutors. Every year we keep the reading list updated, and you will be able to find them in on this online portal. Obviously, this is a website, so you will have access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay. Also, in this portal, you will have access to thousands of electronic journals we get through databases subscription. So let me quickly show you how this portal looks like. So this is the main page. You will probably be familiar with searching on library catalog. So if I just type here, no, okay. Give me, sorry, 1 second. I think you cannot see the catalog. Yeah, okay. So this is the library catalog. This is the main page, and we call it the LRC portal because it's not just a catalog. So if you type wherever you want to look for, okay, and search, you get the list of results here. So any books that you are interested in, you can just click on the title, and then you can see the description. You can see how many copies of the book we've got. So in this case, we have three copies. Most of our books are for 3 weeks. You can borrow them for 3 weeks, others for 1 week, and a few of them for just 24 hours. So what you need to do is as simple as click on reserve this item here, and then it's going to ask you for your student number. That is the number that you have in your student card. So it usually starts with an S, but for this you need to replace the S with the number 0, and then type your 8-digit number. So then this is the title of your book, and just confirm that you want to reserve this item. If you do this way, we will receive your request, and in 24 hours we can have the book ready for you to collect. So we will contact you back. If the book is not in, then we will contact you when the book is returned. Okay. So this is one way you can reserve the books. Another way will be via phone or via email, and you've got our main details in the main page, and you have the details in the student handbook, in the website. So you have many ways to contact us. If you want to renew a book, you can go to my account and then, sorry, no, hold. In your account, you will be able to see how many books you've got, and it is on the right-hand side. You can see when it's going to be due. Remember that you need to renew your books on time, otherwise you will be fined. So it's as easy as just click on the ones you want to renew and click on renew. Okay.
What I hasten to say here is that if any of you, when you start to borrow books from us and you are unsure, please do not hesitate to actually contact one of the library team, and we'll be only too glad to help you. So don't worry if anything doesn't seem to work or you're not sure. That's what we do. We're here to help.
So let me go back to the main page. Another way, as I said, another way to do it is on the phone. You've got our contact details here and our email address. So that is how you can search. However, as I said, we have developed a specific subject resources areas. So if you click on these links here, you can see all the subjects that Nescott covered. Let's choose osteopathy, for example, and then your course. So here is where all the reading lists are by year. This is where you can find access to electronic journals, databases, useful websites, and also referencing guidance. Most of these databases, we're going to give you more in-depth guidance. We're going to deliver information literacy skills program, and that is going to happen in the next weeks. So don't worry about that. We're going to have 2 sessions. The first session will be all about how to search on these resources, how to search on databases, how to find relevant and accurate information for your assignments, your research. And the second session will be all about how to avoid plagiarism and how to use or how to apply Harvard reference.
Our information skills sessions have been developed by Christina, working very, very closely with the course teams right across higher education. You'll find that they're all integrated within a particular assignment that you're doing, so they won't be actually in abstract. They'll relate specifically to the work that you're doing. And we've had fantastic feedback from students, both one-to-one, but also in the survey results. So for example, in the last 2 surveys for induction surveys, where Nescott benchmarked itself against other colleges and universities, the students here said that there was a much higher response, the students saying they understood how to do referencing properly compared to other colleges and universities. So that shows how well this particular program works. So we're here to give you the tools and the resources to make sure that you succeed on your course. And that's been noted by lots of external examining bodies when they come in to review the courses as well.
Okay, so if you want to look at the reading list from here, you can just click on the unit on this icon on the left, and you get a PDF document with alphabetically all the reading list in Harvard reference system. So you can use this as a, let's say, as an example, as a template. And then every book or every reference is linked to the catalog record. We also have ebooks, as you can see here. At the moment, you might not have access to the ebook because we have to give you access through an Athens account, and we're going to create all of that in the next couple of weeks. But from September, when we develop this, when we deliver these information literacy skills sessions, you will all have access, so we will be able to explore all what we do.
If you have a look at the reading list here, you'll see that wherever possible, we always strive to make sure that we've got the very latest editions. So you can see in there, you've got titles from 2017, 2018, and 2019, and 2020. So we try to keep our book stock, whether it's print or ebook, to the very latest editions wherever possible.
So this is this document here, but if you click on the actual name of the unit, you're going to get the same list of books, but in the library catalog, so it will be easier for you if you want to just click here and reserve the book. Okay, so I'm going back to my presentation. I think, oh, well, no, sorry. Let me just briefly also mention the referencing section here. We have subscription to CiteThem, right? You might have heard about this resource. All the universities in the UK use it as the main referencing guidance. So all our so we have, so this is very general. It covers all sorts of resources. You will not have access yet until we create this open Athens account for you. However, what you can already have a look is your subject specific cover referencing guide that we have created for every area. So this is a very brief explanation to introduce you to what plagiarism is and how to avoid it, and also with real examples of resources that we've got for you. Okay, so you can already download these guides and you can already start having a look. Okay, so this is our online portal. Full access to most of the resources by now, and for sure from middle September. Okay, so as I said,
You need to look at the swing sheet.
so this is all what you've got access now, and as I mentioned, you're going to have access to an Athens account, and I will give you details of what your username and your password will be, and this is all happening in the information literacy skills sessions that we're going to develop inside the library this next month.
Yeah, the information literacy skills program has already been booked with your course leaders, and you will actually be doing this by attending the LRC. When you come into the LRC, you will be the only group in at a particular time, and we will spread you out. We will use the open area so you can spread out, so we can actually have enforce social distancing on you all. We can ask you just to clean your area as you arrive, and then we'll do a thorough clean when you've finished.
Okay. So basically, and summarizing, these are the services that now in September you will have. Support, LRC support by phone and email. You have 24 hours access to the LRC online portal. You can borrow books by ordering them and collecting from the library. You have access to ebooks, academic journals, and databases. You're going to have information literacy skills sessions to learn how to search on these databases. You're going to have guidance on how to reference and how to avoid plagiarism. And you can have one-to-one academic support with me and also with the specialist academic tutor, with she's Liz Evans, and Nikki mentioned her before. So, information and telephone numbers, all the details that you need. We operate in the library from Monday to Thursday, 8:30 to 7, and Friday, 8:30 to 5. Our contact details by telephone or email. You've got these details in everywhere, so don't worry about that. You've got the LRC online portal. This is the address, but also you've got direct access to the NESCOT website, through our virtual learning environment. So you've got links to here in many different places. To order and renew books, you can do it on the phone, online, or via email. To collect the books, you will have to come to the library, but the main entrance of the library is closed at the moment, so you're going to find guidance to go through a different door. And then when you want to return the books, please don't come to the library to return the books. You can leave them in reception in Hills Park or in the other reception desk. We've left there a couple of crates. So every day we're going to collect all the returned books and we're going to leave them on quarantine. So just to let you know more email addresses, you've got Brian's email address here if you want to contact directly, my email address, and then Hailey George is another member of the team. She will deal with any issues with the WebLearn or passwords, or you can advise on referencing as well. And then Liz Evans, she's the specialist IT specialist. So that's all.
If there's any questions, we will try to answer those now.
I think people have been putting questions in the chat, which we're just about to access, and I was going to suggest that we answer, and after Graham and Christina have answered any specific questions about the LRC, then I'll
So Rosie, hopefully we've just answered your question about returning books. So it's great to see you back. So please just drop the books off at the reception desk at the Skills Park, or if you're familiar with the old entrance, the old reception where Nescot's security team are based, you can return them there. And then after a couple of days quarantine, we'll get them returned.
Okay, well, from my perspective, this is Nikki speaking, I'm really pleased to see that we've got representatives who've been on student councils previously, so that would be on feeder courses in further education. So having done that for 3 years, I'm hopeful that you might step up and carry on that role. We'd be really keen to have you. I think we sorted the background noise. We had some problems at this end as well as the other microphones that were going on. So my apologies for that. And those are all of the.
Okay, there's a question there from
Yeah.
Ellie. So Ellie, yes, do not worry about any fines that may have occurred before the closure. We, as you know, my team always try to be as flexible and supportive of students as we possibly can. So we're not going to charge any fines for any books that were due before closure. What we've actually tried to do is actually renew books for people anyway. So as I think Christina in the presentation said, all books are renewed until next Friday, the 11th of September anyway. But do not worry about any fines, they will all be waived. What's important, the books are returned, they're quarantined, and then they're ready for the next people to borrow. I noticed, Ahmed, as well, you had a question about learning, or a statement about learning in college, and said it's about social issues. In many respects, you're absolutely right. There is a lot of social issues there, but a lot of jobs will require knowledge of British values, how we combat extremism, how we understand about safeguarding issues. If you're going to be working with people, young people, vulnerable people, etc., all of that knowledge will be invaluable to you. And what we've added this year is a couple of programs on internet safety, because there is so much internet fraud out there. It's unreal, and it's developing and becoming more sophisticated daily. So it's about being careful on that, and also digital literacy, which is a completely new program for NESCOT. So even I'm not overly familiar with that one. So hopefully that will be of an interest and will do you a benefit.
So thank you, Graham. I think the digital literacy will be a really interesting programme, and I know quite a lot of staff are keen to want to take that so they can see what the Learning College for that particular strand involves alongside yourselves, and that will help in terms of any goals that you might identify in terms of development needs with the course team, so that we can help to make sure that you've got really targeted support. So the next presentation, because we had to swap the order, the next presentation is from Rob Greening. That will be starting at 11:15. So what I suggest is, if you maintain your links as you are, we will mute at this end, and then a few minutes before Rob starts his presentation, we will then unmute and welcome. So we will be back here at 11:15. What I just wanted to also say is, following on from Rob's presentation, there is a 12:30 slot that is all about the different universities or awarding bodies. There are 3 separate links in the email that was sent out for that second phase. One link is for Kingston programme. So those of you, and I'll repeat this at the end of Rob's presentation, but those of you studying on Kingston validated programmes will be animal management, computing, sports science, osteopathy. Those of you studying on University of Greenwich programmes will be all of the teacher education suite of courses, so that's the PGCE, the Certificate in Education, the Foundation Degree in Education Support, and then in addition, the Diploma in Counselling. And then the third strand of awarding body is Pearson-related courses, and that's all of you who are undertaking higher national diplomas. So that's the Creative and Games Media, the Performing Arts, the Computing, also offers the HN. Okay, so those, I said sports science, not sport therapy. Thanks, David. Yeah, slip of the tongue. Thank you. I mean sports therapy. Yes, so that's what's going to be happening. So we look forward to seeing you all back here just before 11:15 for the final element of this first phase of the induction, and then The second, that will conclude, and I'll remind you which of the 3 links, which programme needs to go to for the second part. Okay, see you back here at 11:15, but Graham just wants a quick word.
If you have any other questions or want to know anything more about the LRC after the presentation, don't hesitate to email Christina or myself, and we'll be happy to answer any questions for you. I'm also, Nikki in her presentation at the beginning mentioned about the governing body and how there is an HE representative on that. I'm Nescot's support staff representative on the corporation, the governing body, and if any student is particularly interested in joining that and wants to know a little bit more about what it entails, I'll be happy to actually give them some advice about what is involved.
Okay, that just leaves me to conclude and say thank you all very much. Thank you for your thanks, and we'll see you back at 11:50. Okay.
I fit in both HND computing, so HND will just be Pearson.
HND is Pearson, yeah. So that will be for the 12:30. So that's cool. Thank you, Tamina. Okay. See you all back at 11:50.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you've all had a nice break. My name's Rob Greening, and in this section, I'm going to be talking about how we're going to be keeping you safe at Nescot. So I'll introduce myself so you can see who I am. There I am, Rob Greening, Director of Personal Development, Behaviour and Welfare. So I oversee the safeguarding provision here at Nescot, and also support students in their welfare and well-being. What we're going to cover today in this session are 4 areas. So how we are providing a COVID secure campus, why your well-being matters to you and to us, what support is available, and some potential concerns which I just want to make you aware of. So, as you are aware, all institutions, businesses have to come up with a COVID secure plan and operate safe practices. So this is how we're keeping you safe. So we risk assessed every area, every aspect of the college's business. We're providing lots of hand washing, sanitizing and personal protective equipment where it's necessary. Students can bring in their own hand sanitizers if you wish. What we do say is in classrooms, you don't, this is the guidance, you don't or shouldn't be wearing a face mask, but you will be directed in some practical sessions to wear the appropriate PPE. If you want to, you can wear a face mask in and around the communal areas. That's a free choice up to you. We're not insisting on that. But what we do insist, obviously, anyone going in public transport must be wearing the appropriate face covering. And if you're going off-site during the break and into local shops, obviously abiding by their rules and requirements. So staff and students will not be attending if they or a member of their household has symptoms of coronavirus. So it's really important, and I'll give you a little bit more detail about that in a moment. When you first come into Nescot, you will be shown how to keep yourself safe in your subject area, and you'll have a very thorough induction into all of the COVID secure practices that we're operating. Can I just make it clear, and I'm not expecting it from higher education students, but any deliberate breaking of the rules will be dealt with in a very strong and robust manner. So you may be aware, if you've got younger siblings or you've got children at school, that we're operating in what we call COVID bubbles. So each faculty forms a bubble, and when you join us and enroll, you will get a lanyard which is appropriate to the faculty that you are in. So on the screen there you can see, if you're studying osteopathy, teacher training, counselling and food premises, you'll be wearing a yellow lanyard. Those who are studying sports therapy, computing and animal management, you'll be wearing a green lanyard. And those who are studying media and performing arts, you'll be wearing a black lanyard. And what we've done is we've constructed the college into different faculty zones. So you will have specific entrances and exits that we need you to use at all times. And that will be just for your faculty bubble. And only students in that faculty wearing those lanyards will go in and out of that entrance. You'll have dedicated rooms and zones in the college, which includes toilets, just for your faculty bubble. The catering arrangements, again, will be just in your faculty bubbles. So it's really important that you stay as much as possible in those zones, in those bubbles. But again, on your first day, you will be shown where you can and importantly cannot go. So our COVID-19 health and safety requires us all to do certain things. So obviously regular hand washing, the 20-second rule, and or use of sanitizer. When you first come in, when you go from one area to another area, we really want to get that hygiene factors really entrenched into everybody. So we're limiting the risk of spread. Please, we're coming into the winter season now. So coughs and colds, sneezes. So again, that good hygiene rules around catch it, bin it, kill it. We put in there no spitting because it is important, because that does increase the risk of transmission. So please, if you do have to expectorate, please use a handkerchief or a tissue in particular, and then dispose it safely in the bin. Those who are doing practical experiments and sessions, you will be required to clean equipment and surfaces as directed by your teachers. All part of that hygiene practice. Do not gather with students from different faculties. It's really important that we stay in our zones and use the designated entry and exit. Around college, that we put in place a lot of one-way systems and signage. So please follow those systems. It may be like, I can go a shortcut, but we need to operate and work in the way that we're directed around the site. It's really important that we're maintaining social distancing. Now, in some practical areas, that will be less than 1 meter, but you'll be directed whether PPE is appropriate. We are adapting our classroom setup. So instead of often sitting in a horseshoe or in small tables where you're facing one another, you'll be facing all towards the front wherever possible. It's really important that you maintain a minimum of 2 meter distance from staff wherever possible. Adults, like quite a few of you are, that's the general rule, is that 2 meter social distancing. So please respect that. So what happens if there is a concern? So tell us if you or someone you live with is tested positive for COVID-19 and the result. If you're in a household and somebody has the suspected COVID and are waiting on the results, you must self-isolate with that person. So we don't want you coming in from that household if there is a concern. We will be following the instructions from Public Health England, and If required to self-isolate, we will do and ask that of staff and students. So we expect students to be mature and responsible and follow the rules. Sometimes the rules do change, so you do need to keep abreast of any changes to self-isolation duration or requirements. And again, just that reminder, due to the seriousness of the virus, anyone willfully breaking the rules will be suspended and there will be a disciplinary hearing. So as I've said previously, there's lots and lots of signs around the college. We're operating, as we're walking through corridors, stairways, a keep left. So please keep left, because then that way you're not bumping into people. So it makes it really easy to operate. We have some directional arrows on stairways. Again, please use the stairways in the direction that you're required to. Social distancing, 2 meters. And as I've said previously, we've taken great care to set up the 1 meter plus in classes. So just that bit more detail here about what if there is a concern. So if you or a family member you live with has suspected COVID-19, you must remain at home until the test result comes through. If the result is positive, you must remain in isolation for 14 days. If the result is negative, you can return to NESCOP if you're feeling well enough to do so. So it could be that you've got a cold, or flu, or something else. But at every stage, please, when you first are suspected of COVID or a family member, contact your head of department immediately to inform them that you are isolating and also to stay in touch. If a student or a member of staff tests positive for COVID-19, then it is likely that the whole faculty bubble will learn from home for 14 days. So it's really important that we have clear information, clear communication. Work will be set that you can complete online, so remotely. We're all geared up for remote learning, so it won't interrupt your studies. When you first come in, we'll ask you to download our NESCOMS app, which we will ask you to check each morning before setting off to college, just in case we need to quickly isolate a faculty. So that's very much our COVID secure overview of what we'll be operating when you first come into NESCOP. I'm going to spend a few minutes now just talking around well-being. Some people have really enjoyed the period of lockdown. They've taken time to reconnect with their families, start new hobbies or interests, or pick up old interests and hobbies that they hadn't had time for. So for some, it's been a really welcome break from normal life. For others, it's been more pressured, more stressful, concerns around job security, concerns around health of self or others, and actually just that whole limitation of freedom. So we know that people and their well-being will be in totally different places depending on how you've experienced it. So if we think about a state of well-being, it's defined by the World Health Organization, in which the individual realizes his or her own ability. So you can actually be in a good place to flourish, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her own community. As I say, lots of you will be in different places, so there will be support when you come to college should you need it. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But what we know is the better your well-being, the better you feel about yourself, your course and the college. So it's in all of our interests to help you to be in as best place possible for you to flourish and to achieve this year at NESCOP. So there's lots of top tips, and during lockdown you would have seen lots of information coming out about how you can really help enhance your well-being. And here's the top ones that's really good habits for students and for staff to get into. So that connecting, talking to people around you and becoming involved. For some students and staff, they spend a lot of time reconnecting with family members, with friends that they've perhaps not seen so often, whereas others have lost that connection. So it's really important, if you can, to make those connections with real people. Be active. So again, that physical activity to keep your body in good health. What was interesting, the number of people who suddenly started cycling, started running over the lockdown period, and are maintaining that even now that all the restrictions have been lifted. Take notice, being aware of your surroundings, caring for nature, environment, society. NESCOT has a very large estate where students can find some green space, some quiet time to just take a few moments out to reconnect, and it's really important. What we are advocating is at all possible for students. If you can cycle in, there's cycle racks here, but please make sure you have a strong lock. Or if you can walk in, even better. There's some nice green walks available in and around the estate, just to give you that space for nature. Another top tip for wellbeing is to actually offer help, to give something back to our community. We've had a lot of students and some staff who have all been out volunteering, helping to provide or deliver packages for families which are self-isolating or shielding. So again, that still can continue should you wish. And it makes you feel good about yourself, makes you feel good about being part of a bigger community. And the final point is about keeping to learn. And that's why you're here, is those developing new skills, trying something new. So hopefully, as you go through your studies, you'll find that you're becoming engrossed, you'll learn new things, learn new things about yourself, which will help you feel in good spirits and in a good place. So as I said, there's lots of support available to you. So if you are concerned about yourself or others' safety or well-being, then talk to your member of staff. Talk to a teaching member of staff, your head of department. We also have a safeguarding and well-being area here at college. We can offer advice, mentoring, counselling service. We can signpost you and work with specialist support agencies. And sometimes if there's sufficient numbers of students with a particular type of concern, we can run group sessions and workshops. So there is lots of support available to you should you need it. Okay, sorry, I've just been seeing I've got a couple of questions coming in. So one of the questions is, so does that mean I can see my friend in animal care as I'm also in computing? So yes, you can. So you're in the same bubble. So both animal care and computing, you're in the green lanyard. So you're in that green bubble. So yes, you can. Another question coming in here. So why are the bubbles so large? We have to form sensible sized bubbles. Please remember that not all students from that faculty are in all the same time every day. So it could very well be that, say on Monday, only half of that faculty is actually physically here on college at that time. So although they do sound like large bubbles, the reality is that not everyone is in Nescott 9 to 5 Monday to Friday all the time. Just see if there's any other. Good, that's it. Lovely. So we'll move on with that. So any more questions, just send them through to me and I hope I can answer them. We do have safeguarding and we do, our responsibility is to safeguard everyone here at Nescott. And what you will see on this list is sadly a very long list of the key safeguarding issues that we must be particularly mindful here at Nescott. We have seen virtually everything on that list in the past 18 months. So as I've said at the top there, we have heard or seen almost everything. So if you do have a concern about yourself or a colleague here at Nescott, please tell us and we can support you in that. We can offer additional support to those who are, because you may still be in it, or were in one of those categories. So if you've not yet told us that you are within one of these specific groups, tell us or to your course leader. There are extra support available to you. Also, we can make connections should you need them with outside agencies to help and support you while you're here at Nescott and through your studies. So if you do fall into any of those categories and you haven't yet told us, please do so. So as I've mentioned, we've got a safeguarding and wellbeing team. I oversee that, Bob Grinning. We have a head of student wellbeing, and that's Adele. And then we've got some wellbeing mentors. We do have a mental health practitioner here, and we've got a college counsellor. Because of COVID restrictions, we are really operating an email or phone service. We are still available to students, but that really is if they are in crisis. Or it could very well be that you make contact with us, and those are all the details there, how you can contact us. We would then arrange a meeting time and place with you so we can make sure that we're maintaining social distancing. But in an absolute crisis, we are available in the North Wing ground floor for you to come and see us. So the final aspect that I do need to talk to you as a requirement is the global concern about extremism and radicalisation. And we understand that people further develop and refine their thoughts and opinions. And as you do that, we hope that these are balanced and are well considered. There is, however, a chance they might be extreme views, leading you to become interested or involved in or groomed or radicalised into carrying out illegal activity. And that's the radicalisation aspect which we're concerned about. So we know, and working with counter-terrorism, we know, and they give us information that there are certain organisations that have a potential to hold extreme views. And we've just put a few of those on there. I'm not saying that everyone associated with them hold those views or extreme views, but the counterintelligence is saying there are factions within these organisations which seriously want to disrupt, carry out illegal activities and cause harm. So please be mindful as you develop your interests. Could be around Greenpeace, it could be around anti-capitalism or environmental activism. There are factions within those organisations that will look to draw you towards more extreme behaviours and ideology. But we know that discussing issues is a natural part of development, and that's how we learn, through listening to others, discussing, debating. But what we really encourage students and staff to understand that discussions are an exchange of ideas and viewpoints, and that they're not a battle to win. And so when you're in those discussions with your fellows, please remember, you're not often going to change somebody's opinion by just keep battling and battling and battling. You can inform them, you can give them an alternative, but it's not a battle to win. What you're aiming to do is to inform them or to let them see your viewpoint. They might still hold that same view that they had before they talked with you, or they might moderate their views. But it's really important that when we take part in discussions, that we see it's a fair exchange of ideas. So we're asking you to show that mutual respect and tolerance to others as you would expect it towards you. And by doing that, that we're understanding that we're abiding by the laws of this country, because we're all entitled under British values to have our freedom of speech and freedom of expression. So when we take part in discussions, and some of them in your course-related topic will be quite challenging, that we are respectful of other people's views and opinions. So just very simply on this slide, here are the 4 areas of British values. It's that rule of law, mutual respect and tolerance, individual liberty, that freedom for, and democracy. It's around those ideas sharing, respecting ideas and working together. And that's very much what higher education aims to achieve, is to have that rigorous discussion, but within a supportive and within a mutually respectful environment. So just as I come towards the end of my presentation, just need to make you aware of just a couple of things. So every time that you log on to our network, whether that be on a PC that we provide, your laptop, or connecting to our mobile network, you will be adhering to our NESCOT IT user policy, which we will take you through on your first day and ask you to sign. We also run a software system called Barracuda. Like the shark, it never sleeps, it just keeps working, and it runs 24/7. And what Barracuda does is it blocks certain content from students or staff being allowed to access it. So it's just looked at it under certain themes and says, that's not appropriate for this institution, and it will block it at source. It can filter, so it will say certain topics are permissible, but they will filter down through to find an acceptable level of content which they will allow students to view and to staff to view. And the final aspect of Barracuda is that it actually reports. So every day I receive a report of staff and students who've been searching for certain content. So it could be around abuse, it could be around extremism, it could be around pornography and other areas. And it will give me a report telling me who it is and what they were looking at. And we then will make a decision. So it could be that I need to come and talk to you and say, can you just explain to me, please, why you are looking at this material? But really what we're saying to students is, when you're here on our network, you should be only using the network for your study. So whatever outside interests you may have, can you do that research or viewing at home, not on our network? It saves a lot of interesting conversations. So just finishing off, so your well-being is really important to us. There are lots and lots of staff here, your teaching staff, your head of department, Nikki Adams, Director of Higher Education. We've got student finance, we've got our well-being and safeguarding teams, and we've also got our security staff who are really good, and I encourage you to get to know them because they're a great help. We're all here to make you feel safe, to make you feel comfortable, for you to achieve what you set out to achieve, and to know that there are people and places that should you need to go and talk to them about an issue, that they're there for you. So there's lots of help available should you need it. All you have to do is just say. So final slide. I think it says it all. Any questions coming up?
If you go to the top,
If I go to the top,
the highlights 12.
oh, there
Yeah, on the chat.
on the chat, right? Okay, so well, not that far. Keep going down.
Let's see the ones you still there we go. See, that's where you were.
Right, so we've answered the bubbles. Same start. Right, so are the entire bubble having the same start, times, breaks? That was from Sarah. No, we're not. As I've said, we have basically, we're not like a school. We don't all start at 8:45 for registration and then finish at 3:30. At the college, we will have students who may not start until their first lesson of the day is at 11 o'clock, or some may not start till 1:30. We have a sort of a common timetable that 9, 11, 1:30, but because of COVID, we've been flexing break times, flexing lunch times, so we're not all going to break at the same time, we're not all going to lunch at the same time, so we are splitting it out. Break start times and end times again have become that little bit more flexible or differentiated. So we are reducing the number of people all coming in at the same time. But also, as I've said, you'll all have your separate entrances and exits. So you're not all going into the college in the same area at the same time. You'll be using 4 different entrances and exits through the college. So we're reducing those numbers down as it is. So hopefully I've answered that. Right, so who are the students in art and design departments allowed to mix with? I didn't think art and design.
So the front of the building is effectively divided into half for art and design and half for performing arts. So even within that single entity, there's division.
Got a question, will teaching and safeguarding teams be monitoring students during break and lunch time? Yes, we've got a very, hopefully quite comprehensive rota in place to make sure that people are adhering to the rules, that they're sticking within their faculty bubbles. Obviously, for students, it's going to take that little bit of time to get to know the college, so we'll be educating first, but as I've said, Any deliberate breaking of it, it will be treated robustly. But there will be lots of staff around who will be just keeping an eye out, guiding students, supporting students, so everyone's following the rule. Okay. No, not quite sure. No chance of students getting away with actions. Not quite sure what that question is. Why aren't masks being made mandatory? That's the current government advice that we are following, is that within the school setting, they are not mandatory. As the guidance changes, or if it changes, then we will follow the current guidance that it is provided. But as I've said, you can, should you wish, wear a mask in the communal areas. But at the moment, the guidance that we are following, which is set by government, is that they are not mandatory. So we are not able to, or wanting to at this moment in time, enforce something which is not a requirement. So I've hopefully answered the different faculty bubbles, break times. Okay. Again, the 1 meter rule, we are saying that that's the guidance that's coming out from government. So we're following the government advice and guidance regarding social distancing. Right, lift access, yes, we're like all businesses, organisations, there are signs up saying how many people are permitted in the lift at any one time, and lifts are only to be used by authorised students, so those who have a medical or physical requirement to use a lift. So they're not for general everyone going in them, and there are number restrictions on lifts. And I think hopefully I've covered all of your questions regarding distancing and the one-way system. When you come into Nescott for the first time, you will see the signage that will direct you through. So are students required to keep socially distanced outside the classrooms? As I say, we have created bubbles. We are saying maintain these bubbles, please maintain distance. We will have staff around who are monitoring it and advising it. We can only do that for students and staff who are on site. Once they leave our site, we have no power to enforce any of those rules, but we really hope that students and staff will understand that we all have a part to play in keeping the R number low and to stop any reinfections from occurring. Can students wear masks inside the classrooms? At the moment, the guidance, and that's what we keep going back to, is saying that they shouldn't be worn. If you have a particular concern, I suggest that you talk to your head of department and to Nikki Adams, Director of Higher Education, to discuss why you feel the necessity to wear a mask within the classroom. At the moment, as I said, we will just go with the legislation and the requirements set by government. Right, and then what we know about the entrances. So on your first day here at Nescott, you'll be greeted and you'll be given a thorough tour and physical induction into Nescott. just a comment come up about needing to ask permission. As I say, the requirement in class is that they don't need to be worn. So I'm just saying, please discuss it with your teacher. Yeah. So hopefully I've answered all your questions. So thank you all very much indeed, and look forward to seeing you here at Nescott.
Okay, thank you, Rob. So really, just to finish off this morning session by saying thank you all for participating, and certainly thank you for all of your questions and comments. That's been really helpful, and lovely to hear from those of you who've been talking about previous experiences, for example, as student representatives. So I'm pleased to see you returning to do higher education here with us. The next sessions will be run as 3 different awarding bodies, as we said at the beginning, and they start at 12:30. So just a reminder, those of you undertaking sport, computing BSc and animal management will need to click on the Kingston link that went out. Those of you undertaking teacher training programs such as PGCE, Certificate in Education, Foundation Degree in Educational Support, and also the Counselling Diploma will need to click on the Greenwich link for the 12:30 session. And then those of you completing higher national diplomas, so that's creative media, computing and performing arts, will need to click on the Pearson link for the 12:30 session. Thank you. I don't know whether we want to go to the birthday party or not. It all depends on social distancing, I would suggest.
And not, yeah.
Okay. Thank you all. We'll see you at 12:30.